Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, we will explain about data presentation to accomplish our group task of primary school mathematics learning. But before we explain, let me introduce ourselves. We are from group 14 and there are two presenters. There is Chris Kiding Allah and then Alfi Syahrin Zainuddin. So today we wanna explain about data presentation, and there are 4 contents that we will explain. The first is definition. There is definition of data presentation. Data presentation is one of the activities in the report on the result of research that has been carried out so that it can be implemented and analyzed according to the desired objective. The data presented must be simple and clear so that it's easy to read. Data presentation can also be done by observers who can easily understand what we are presenting to future submit result of comparison and others. Next, the variety of data presentation. The first is table, rows, and column. This table is used for data that only has one category or group. This data can be combined into one category or group as in the example below, and namely the type of writing instrument and each of base type of writing instrument. So example is pen has the number equals to 3, pencil has the number equal to, and eraser, sharpener, rule, Tipex, Stabilo has the number equals 1. Okay, next, contingency table is used for the data that has more than one category or group. For example, that the data in the image below. In the table, it is 1 now that the data on the number of grade 8 students based on their gender has 2 categories, namely class and gender. Therefore, the form of presentation will be like this. The first, in example 8, grade A had the same number of boys, 13 for boys and 17 for girls. In A, grade B has the same number of boys as 15 and has 16 girls. 3. In 8th grade C have the same number of 6 of boys as 12 and 17 for girls. And then in the 8th grade class 8D, the number is equals to the 14 for boys and 18 for girls. The next, this table is used for data group in interval of values. Each value interval has a frequency or lots of data. Based on the picture above, it's known that the data for the daily test score of mathematics for grade 70A a student, while the number of students is 30, and the value also vary, ranging from 61 to 100. In fact, you can present the data in a row and column table. However, it will be simple if you make it in the frequency distribution table. Well, that frequency indicates the number of students who get mathematics school score according to their respective interval. For example, the frequency in the interval 61 to 17, there are 3 people, meaning that there are 3 people, students who score between 16 and 17 on the daily mathematics test, and so do it like this. And then graphic. On the graphic there are 3 points. Is histogram. Histogram, this graph is also called a bar diagram. The second, polygon. Polygon is a distribution classified as a variable, and then ogive, the curve of the polygon called the ogive. That's all from me. For the next material will be continued by presenter Alfi Syahrin Zainuddin.
Next will be my part. My name is Alfi Syahrin Zainuddin, and I will explain about the diagram. In general, the definition of a diagram is a picture or graphic that contains information and describes the meanings, procedures, or activities that carried out by a system to explain or show something. A diagram is a description of data that has been processed in such a way as to become a graph, line, or table. The diagram makes the user easier to analyze data in an attractive and easy to understand display. The contents of the diagram are usually nominal, scale, or statistical data. These are the example of the diagram. The types of diagrams are divided into several shapes, like bar diagram. Bar diagram is a diagram that shows a number of quantity in rectangle or square form. In general, bar diagram illustrate the development of the value of a research objects within a certain period of time. Bar diagram show bars as vertical and horizontal. These are the example of horizontal diagram and the vertical diagram. Next, Chapter 3, Problem in Class. The students' problem during the learning process is they are having a misconception for understanding the topics. They usually can't describe the types of units and how to put the data into diagrams. This lack of understanding also makes the students can't read the data of an existing diagram. Therefore, the teacher's role is they must to ensure that students are able to clearly identify the data and address it according to the right form of data presentation. Next, Chapter 4, the impact of COVID-19. The impact of COVID-19. COVID-19 gives a big impact into many aspects, including education. Teaching process in school are changed into an online classes using online platform. This is considered non-effective because there is no face-to-face learning and the question session have a lacking process. That's why In the present scenario, teachers are needed to be trained with skill-based technology efficiently and effectively, which could make the online teaching more interesting and engage the needs of all students. So far, that is a must. Otherwise, that could prove to be the worst for students' interest in studies. It might not be enough to have wide ranging resources online without sufficient guidance to address the students' need on the online platform. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for having us in group 14. If you have any questions, let's discuss.